Hi, my name is Alicia Lucarelli, and it's September 13, 2009, and this is my manuscript. The title is Now We Can Begin, What's Next by Crystal Eastman. She was a woman feminist of the 1920s. She was in a lot of feminist groups and was a leader in most of them. She was for Women Can Be Humans, too. Most women will agree that August 23rd, the day when the Tennessee legislature finally indicated the federal suffrage amendment, is the day to begin with, not a day to end with. Men are saying perhaps, thank God this everlasting women's fight is over, but women, if I know them, are saying now at last we can begin. In fighting for the right to vote, most women have tried to be either non-communal or thoroughly respectable on every other subject. Now they can say what they are really after, and what they are really after in common with all the rest of the struggling world is freedom. Freedom is a large word. Many feminists are socialized, many are communists, not a few are active leaders in this movement. But the true feminist, no matter how far to the left she may be in the revolutionary movement, she sees the women's battle as distant in its objects and different in its methods from the workers' battle for industrial freedom. She knows, of course, that the vast majority of women, as well as men, are without property and are of bread and butter slaves under a system of society which allows the very sources of its life to be privately owned by a few. And she counts herself a loyal soldier in the working class army that is marching to overthrow that system. But as a feminist, she also knows that the whole of women's slavery is not summed up in the profit system, nor her complete assured by the downfall of capitalism. What then is the matter with women? What is the problem of women's freedom? It seems to me to be this: how to arrange the world so that women can be human beings with a chance to exercise their infinite varied gifts in infinite varied ways, instead of being distant by accident of their sex to one field of activity, housework and child raising. And second, if and when they choose housework and child raising, to have that occupational recognized by the world as work, requiring a definite economic reward and not merely entitled to performance to be dependent on some man. This is not the whole of feminism, of course, but it is enough to begin with. Oh, don't begin with economics, my friends often protest. Woman does not live by bread alone. What she needs first of all is a free soul. And I can agree that women will never be great until they achieve a certain emotional freedom, a strong, healthy egotism, and some unpersonal source of joy that in this inner sense cannot make women free by changing her economic status. What we can do, however, is to create a condition of outward freedom in which a free woman's soul can be born and grow. It is this outward condition in which an organized feminist movement must concern itself. Freedom of choice in occupation and individual economic independence for women. How shall we approach this next feminist objective? First, by breaking down all remaining barriers, actually as well as legally, which makes it difficult for women to enter and succeed in various professions, to go into and get on in business, to learn trades and practice them, to join trade unions. Chief among these remaining barriers is inequality in pay. Here the ground is already broken. This is the easiest part of our program. Second, we must institute a revolution in early training and education of both boys and girls. It must be womanly as well as manly to earn your own living, too. Stand on your own feet. And it must be manly as well as womanly to know how to cook and sew and clean and take care of yourself in ordinary life. I need not add that the second part of the revolution will be more passive resistant than the first. Men will not give up their privilege of helplessness without a struggle. Average men has a careful ignorance about household manners, from what to do with the crumbs to the grocery telephone number, a sort of cheerful inequality which protects him better than the repulse of having a violent temper. It was his mother's fault in the beginning, but even as a boy he was quick to see how a general repetition of being no good around the house would serve him throughout life, and how half consents he began to notice that the helplessness until today it is the spur of feminist wives. Sons and daughters, they are born of women. How can women be free to choose their occupation at all times, cherishing their economic independence unless they stop having children? This is a further question for feminism. If the feminist program goes to pieces on an arrival of the first baby, it is false and useless. But is there any way of ensuring a woman's economic independence while child raising is is her chosen occupation, or must she sink into the dependent state from which, as we all know, it is so hard to rise again? This brings us to the fourth feature of our program, motherhood endowment. It seems that only way we can keep mothers free at last in a capitalist society is by establishment of principles that the occupation of raising children is particular and directly to service to society, and that the mothers upon whom necessary and privilege of performing the service naturally falls is entitled to an economic reward from the political government. It is ideal to talk of real economic independence for women unless its principle is accepted, but with a generous endowment of motherhood provided by legislation, with all laws against voluntary motherhood and education and its methods applied, with the feminist ideal of education accepted in home and school, and with all the special barriers removed in every field of human activity, there is no reason why women could not become almost a human thing. It will be time enough then to consider whether she has a soul. And in this speech, I have shown that women have changed a lot over the years, and men are more acceptable to things, and it shows how much women have changed, men have changed, the government has helped us, and to improve everything in the world.